Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do know Dr. Birnbaum. She doesn't. I don't think she lives in my district. She lives in my area, and I have seen her on many occasions, and I know her reputation, which is excellent, and I know the reputation of the scientific work done at NIEHS, and that's excellent. And I have relied upon her judgment on some occasions, and I've always found her judgment to be sound. Mr. Maresca, in my 20s, I spent a year at university, as they would say, in London. I am not a gifted natural athlete. I think I'm on the right slope of the athleticism bell curve, but the curve is still really fat where I am. But I like playing pickup basketball. Nobody I went to school with, nobody I was at university with played pickup basketball, but I heard about a pickup game among Americans living in London at an American school on Sunday afternoons, and I showed up. And they let me play, but it quickly became apparent that I was just way, way out of my depth. And between the games, I overheard the conversations, and everyone else in the game was actually living in Europe because they were playing European pro ball. Mr. Maresca, that is probably how you should feel sitting today beside Dr. Birnbaum in talking about the subject that is before us. Dr. Birnbaum has her master's and her PhD in microbiology. She's published more than 700 peer-reviewed publications, book chapters, abstracts, reports. They appear, her own original research is entirely in the area of public health effects of chemical exposures. She is an adjunct faculty member both in public health, toxicology, environmental sciences at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, my alma mater, an excellent institution, as well as a nearby university of lesser reputation. And you're a lawyer, isn't that right? And,
that is correct.
And the agency that you had, the office that you had, is not a science policy office, and you're not a scientist, isn't that right?
That is correct.
Okay, and it is not the task of your agency to protect the public health or the quality of the environment, environmental quality, isn't that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Do you have scientists who performed an independent assessment of the claims of the styrene industry about the evaluation of the scientific literature and any irregularities in the scientific process?
We do not.
Okay. Is there anything that you have said in your testimony today that we know the styrene industry has spent close to $1 million in lobbying in just the last 2 years on this issue? Is there anything that you said in your testimony today that differs in any detail from the criticisms of the styrene industry?
I am not as familiar with all of the criticisms of the styrene industry. They were among the small businesses who did come to our office to suggest that there were problems with the 12th rock.
Okay, so your testimony today, your criticisms have come to you from the styrene industry, is that correct?
In part, yes.
Okay. And you, according to your newsletter, and actually the styrene industry's lobbying arms newsletter claimed credit for this hearing today, for having obtained this hearing. But your newsletter said that you had a roundtable discussion of NIEHS report on carcinogens, and that representatives from the American Chemistry Council and Regulatory Checkbook were there. Was anyone from NIEHS there?
I do not believe so.
Okay. Was Dr. Belzer, who will testify in the next hearing, was he at that?
I believe he was.
Okay. And Mr. Tonko's statement today includes he added to it a small business owner's statement that they actually manufacture. I wouldn't have thought of the styrene industry as being a small business, but there is someone who is developing another form of packing material from mushrooms, and he says that actually what you're advocating for today is hurting their interest. Were they included in the roundtable?
I'm not familiar with that letter, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I will yield back my last 11 seconds.